Greetings. How's everybody doing on this Tuesday afternoon? I am back here with you guys for the second day of our Conversations with Father series. I'm going to be having a discussion with Sean Watt today about his fatherhood journey. Give me a moment to... Oh, see, yeah, these are coming through nice. Yes, yes. Y'all know sometimes it can be a little technical difficulty action with adding people on here. But boom, here we are. All smiles to Sean. How you doing?
Nervous.
Why?
I ain't never done. Well, yeah, I did
Yeah, you
last
and I
time.
did a live before at the fundraiser, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It's not that
Can you
bad.
hear
We're
me
just
good?
gonna have an inspiring conversation. The two of us that other people are gonna tune into. That's definitely going to be informative and inspiring for them. So that's all you need to do. How you doing, Pauline? Jackie? Hey sis, how y'all doing today? Thank you for tuning in. This is the third father on my Conversations with Father series. And as you guys know, I've stated I am the daughter of a single father. And I think it's imperative that we within the Black community control our own narrative. So today, Chris, how's it going? We are going to have a conversation with another father. Yesterday, you guys got to hear the stories of Seiko Varner and Kendall Davis. So we got Sean Watt today. How you feeling?
And how I'm supposed to follow them up?
You what?
How I'm supposed to follow them?
Just like
It
this.
was on point.
They were definitely on point, but you also
Yeah,
have a
it was good.
story, and that's why you were chosen. And it's a story that I know a lot of people will be able to relate to. So, first and foremost, I'm going to have you put all your business out there. I need to know your name, your age, your marital status, how many kids you have, and boys, girls, all of that good stuff. Spill it.
All right. Well, my name is Sean Watt. WATT, because everybody try to put an S on it all the time. So there's
Okay.
no S on it.
Got it.
I'm 44. Divorced. I got one son. He's 15. And is that it?
That's it. You answered all the questions. Good job. See, you're knocking it out today
All right,
already.
boom. All right, so I'll see you later. Thanks for having me.
Not so fast. Not so fast. So the first thing I want to ask you, Sean, because I'm getting your fatherhood profile here as we move forward into this conversation. So I want to find out, can you share what has your relationship been like with your own father?
I don't have one. My father left my mother when I was 1, and I never physically knew him. But I did. You know what's so funny? I actually found him on Facebook a couple of years ago, and that was kind of funny. But we've never physically met. Um, haven't spoken with him for a while because, I pretty much am established. So I really don't feel the need to meet him. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. And one of the things that I've asked our two guests yesterday was how did their father's presence in their lives impact them? So today we have a different situation, and it is also a situation that I think is relatable to many. So I'm going to ask you the same question, but obviously it is from the perspective of your dad not being there. How did that impact your life, and how has it influenced your parenting style or influenced you as a father and how you um treat your son?
It's a loaded question. You got over
Not.
44 years of this.
It's what?
Well, you got over 44 years of this. This is a loaded question. I'm gonna try to sum it up in a nutshell though, and not, be too long with this answer. But I know coming up, it was kind of rough. Um, I grew up in the Bronx, and a lot of my friends came from single mother homes. A lot of the fathers wasn't there, but I did have a couple of friends that had their fathers, and I grew up a little bit jealous, seeing their fathers there, And I went through a lot of things, experienced a lot of things that I feel if I had a father there, I wouldn't have had to, um, go through. So I grew up kind of angry. I didn't have any respect for men for real. Because that same thing when somebody try to tell you something, you can't tell me nothing. You're not my father. So that was like my go-to line. And so I grew up like that with a lot of anger, and a lot of times it came out in the wrong ways, ended up getting me in trouble sometimes. So I hope that answers that question.
So yes, it answered the first part of the question very well, and the second part is how did with that being your experience and your dad not being there, how did that influence your
Oh, with my
parenting
parents and
style?
with my son. Okay, yeah. Um, well, when I went through the divorce with my son's mother, um, it wasn't an option for me not to be in my son's life because I knew how I felt not having a father. So I knew I never wanted him to experience that. And so it wasn't even an option for me not to be in my son's life, you know. Um Actually had to go the court way, but yeah, it just was never an option because it's rough coming up without a father, especially when you don't have um credible men in your life, so I knew that nobody could raise my son like me because he's a part of me. So
So just to let everybody watching know, what is the custodial status of your son?
well, we had when I initially went through the divorce, I had got primary custody, but his mother wanted some more time, so we did the 50-50 custody, but I'm the custodial parent, so he lives with me, and he's been living with me since the divorce.
And how old was he when you all divorced?
Oh man, well, we separated in 2011, so it's been about 7 years now.
So how old was
And the
he?
divorce, he's 15, so minus, you got me doing math. 8. He was 8 and 9 when he was 9 when the divorce happened.
Okay.
So
So
he's been
you've
living with
had
me
him
since.
since he was 9, and that's what I wanted to get at. And Chris here is saying not an option for you not to raise your son, and he could relate to that. And I told you I
So I can
appreciate you
see it
being
from both
here and be
sides.
comfortable in telling your truth because definitely people are going to be able to relate to this and be inspired by this. So now getting back to that, you said that you did not have a father in your life and that there were challenges toward that, and you were able to identify those challenges and how that affected you growing up. Now, one thing that I find interesting with these conversations with fathers and anybody who is able to break a generational curse or pattern or to, something that was lacking from their childhood that they are able to do themselves. What propelled you? Because sometimes in those situations, I didn't have a dad, so I end up not being a dad. What propelled you without having that role model there to be the father that you are and not even a part-time dad but a the full custodial parent? What inspired you? What gave you what did you pull out of yourself or your environment? Where did that come from? How were you able to do that?
Wow. Um,
You know,
that's a good
you
question.
know me.
That's a good question. Um, I just honestly from just knowing how it feels without one. And I had a pastor that when I first got married, um his name was Charles Green, and he kind of took me under his wing. I think I was like in my late 20s when I met him, and he just took me under his he just took a liking to me, and he was more like a kind of like that mentor that I needed. And so he kept dropping jewels, and then when I was going through issues um with my ex, actually when my son was first born, um me and my ex were going through issues then, and then he was just like it shouldn't be an option with whether you going to be in your son's life or not. Because one thing he told me was that, anybody could do anything to my son, especially when he was a baby and my son can't articulate it. And he was like, I'm the one supposed to be protecting my son. And he was like, nobody else could do that for you. Nobody else is going to have the love for your son like you do because he's part of you. And so I think that was like one of the major things. Well, not the major thing, but it was one of the influences that made me, want to definitely have my son.
So a recurring theme that I've seen here, you're the third dad that I'm interviewing, and a recurring thing that I'm seeing here is having counsel from fathers, and not even just always fathers, but outside male influences. And I think that's one of the reasons why I have a multitude of reasons as to why I do this every year. But one of those is to remind our community that the male presence is needed in our communities when it comes to raising our boys and preparing them for being men and being fathers and being husbands, and that both of us are needed, we as women, because in no way am I diminishing our role. I just think that this is a side of the story that doesn't get told a lot, and so we need Black men present, because that is something I'm finding in all of these cases where the brothers are being triumphant and doing well and being good fathers. There were older men there who were able to speak to you. So we need the male presence in our community. But my next question would be, what were some of the challenges that you feel you faced, considering, you realize you didn't have a
Can you start
father?
that question again? Somebody sent me something on Messenger and it paused it for a minute, so I didn't hear your question starting.
Okay. And a cool thing that I learned to do now with these is to put my phone on do not disturb, because it will
I don't know how
get
to.
crazy sometimes. Huh?
Okay. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, I just like figured it out. People have been telling me, and it was really simple, but I just like actually went and did it yesterday. But I'll tell you about that. But nonetheless, what challenges, considering that you took this on, you're a father now, and you and your wife are divorcing, and you take on primary custody of your son. What challenges do you feel you face that you may not have faced had you had a father? What are the things that you were like, yo, I don't know. What are some of those obstacles that you feel not having
Um.
an example?
Well, I'm still learning as I go along.
Of
So
course.
please don't think, but
No,
like
that's
as a
not an
young,
assumption.
yeah. So as a young parent, I had to like trying to, well, growing up, I learned a lot from, kids on the block, or the older guys on the block and stuff. And so, it was you got to be hard, you can't show emotion, you can't show this. So, I had to learn to let my son just be a kid, um that was like one of the most important things. Just let him be a kid. He trying to figure out life too. But I was, so stickler on, nah, you can't do this, by the way I came up. But I did take some parenting classes, so that really helped me learn how to relate to like his ages, um certain things that he did, and just allow him to just figure it out, but still be that guidance for him. So I think that's one of the obstacles that I did. Um, Dealing with like the emotional stress from him going through um, the divorce of his parents. I had to get him a counseling because that I think that helped a lot too, to help him process it in ways that I couldn't really help, because I never been that way before, so I didn't really know how to relate to him, and then he held a lot of stuff in. But getting him a counselor where he could talk and release, I think that was another challenge. And then it took a while for me and his mother to really get on a speaking plane. So allowing him to be able to speak about that without my emotions getting involved, where he could just talk and me listen. And I'm still learning to allow him to talk, where I could listen without trying to shut him down. because I want him to feel safe with sharing stuff with me, you know. So that's another challenge that I had dealt with.
Well, Mr. Nervous, I think you're doing a great job. And one of the things that I'm noticing
Sweating
here,
here, forehead shining.
you're doing fine. But one of the things that I'm noticing here that I thought was very powerful, when we as humans take the time to reprogram or deprogram ourselves for another person, that is a very selfless act. Although I know it benefited you as well. But you said, growing up in the boogie down, and it's a
Yeah,
certain
always representing the Bronx now. Look, stop.
and you know that there is a certain code of conduct or an expectation, and for you to go inside yourself and chip away at what you had experienced on from birth on up until that point, and you realize that for the betterment of your child that you had to shed some of those things. Reprogramming ourselves and deprogramming ourselves is not easy. It's not easy at all. So I think that's a very commendable act as a parent, as a father. And I want to ask you for seeking out to take the parenting classes. Did you do that on your own? Was it a court mandated thing, or did you decide to do that?
Well, at first, when they were going through when we were going through the custody issue, it was court mandated, but I ended up taking other classes other than that because it was just something you had to do online, get a certificate just to show that you had it. But I wasn't happy with that, and I knew, I didn't know a lot of stuff, so I Googled some stuff and ended up taking extra stuff for myself.
Great, great. And so stepping out of your comfort zone, and another recurring theme is that I'm seeing dads are talking about, whether you realize it or not, aspects of being vulnerable. And even I feel, and a lot of this discussion, I've heard this discussion prior to last week, but definitely we're hearing a lot now where people are talking about mental health. And we've heard about the stigmas within the Black community. So seeking out parenting classes, seeking out therapy for your son, all of those things. It's just good to hear that dads are doing these things, because again, as the person I am, I advocate for the Black community. So that's Black man, woman, child, family, individuals, all of that. And so again, I think we don't hear about Black fathers taking parenting, Black single father with custody taking parenting classes, or Black single father with custody making sure that his son is in therapy to deal with the adversity of his parents divorcing. So that in and of itself is inspirational, and something that people need to hear and know that Black people and Black dads do. Um,
Hmm.
so that's awesome. Let me see. What do I want to ask you
I don't know.
now? Um, let's
Take
just
it
go.
easy.
Well, I have some. Chris says great job, and Ramonda
Oh,
says
thank
you're a
you.
great father. I'm gonna get one more little difficult one, and then we'll get a little lighter with it. So, as far as what you and your son's mother, who was at one point your wife, when you guys were divorcing, was it a simple divorce and okay, all right, so you get him this time, I get him that time, or did you guys kind of go through it? And if you went through it, how did you handle that and get through it? And do you have any advice for men who may be experiencing that now?
Oh, mm, woo. All right. Reception getting cloudy. I gotta call you back. Now let me stop.
Hey, don't say I didn't warn you. Don't say if I'm anything, I'm fair. Okay. So,
Nah. It was a real bad divorce. Real bad. Custody battle was rough. Um, but there was a lot of times that I felt that I was suffering the wrong. Um, a lot of times I felt that I was like I felt like I was being painted as a bad guy, or like I had to always compromise. But at the end of the day, I just had to think, my son loves his mother too. So I had to swallow my pride. I really had to swallow my pride a lot, you know. just just for peace sake, just for because I didn't want him to have to deal with adult problems. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so a lot of time I compromised. A lot of times when I felt like I was right, um, I compromised a lot of things that I felt like I was being manipulated or used. But at the end of the day, I just had to be like, I don't want my son to have to deal with this. So I try to shield him a lot. Um, so it wasn't easy, you know, being transparent. I spent a lot of times like, just shaking my head, looking at the mirror, like, yo, dude, But I had to huh?
Go ahead. I'm answering a question.
Oh,
I didn't
I was
want to
like,
interrupt you, but I
I don't
guess
do
that was
sign language.
distracting anyway. I'm throwing up a game. West sorry. No, she asked how old was your son when y'all divorced. So I was just trying to be like
Oh,
8.
I was like, I don't do I don't do sign language. Nah, but yeah, like I just had to swallow my pride. It was for the best interest of my son. And so a lot of things, I just swallowed, and just dealt with.
And again, that speaks to the selflessness of being a parent. And some people get that, some people don't. But I'm hearing a lot of that coming from your story right here, where you prioritize your son over yourself. And I'm
Wasn't
sure
easy.
that can't be easy
No.
all the time.
Mm-mm.
What?
It wasn't. It wasn't easy. It
Yeah. Yeah, but
was
it's
a
it's
process.
definitely commendable. Let me see. Jackie said she just read Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and what you were saying reminds me of a quote from the book. Let's see. Black people love their children with a kind of obsession. Your children are all we have, and you children are all we have, and you come to us in danger. We obsessively and by any means necessary want to set our children up for success, and not the reason they go to counseling as an adult. Thank you for your efforts in raising a respectable and aware Black man. You are amazing. Oh,
Oh, thank you.
yes. Yes, definitely. And I'm seeing that, I had that we had a 24-year-old father last night at 8, and he had a
Yeah,
lot
he
of
was good.
foresight, and also, like, I pretty much kind of like what Jackie said. I was like, when you are a parent, you are downloading all of this information into this clean computer, this hard drive that has nothing on it, and you are determining if this person is going to go out and be a virus in the world, or if they're gonna, really do great things. And having that foresight to recognize that, and to make sure that you produce, as Jackie likes to say, a productive and good little citizen is really, really important, because hurt people. And if you're
Absolutely.
producing a hurt person, that's adding more chaos to the world. So thank you for your foresight
Yeah.
and your sacrifices. So yeah, okay, you were still talking. It was difficult, and you had to
I
swallow
had
your
to.
pride some and make some sacrifices. Do you have any advice for men who may be going through divorces and custody battles?
Yeah, I do. Take your feelings out of it, like, cause a lot of times, I got so obsessed with, like, this ain't right. You know what I'm saying? But take your feelings out of it and think logically, because you got to be able to communicate with your kid's mother. You have to. Um, I've been divorced well for 6 years, but we haven't been together in 7, and it took me think about like 3 or 4 years to realize that I had to still learn how to communicate with my son's mother. And we're cordial right now, you know what I'm saying? Not gonna say we like best friends or nothing, but we're cordial where we could communicate, we could sit down, we could talk, um, and keep emotions out of it. But you're gonna have to be able to communicate with them. So, you know, whether you feel like you're being wronged or what, you gotta find a way to communicate in such a way where you can understand where she's coming from and she can understand where you're coming from. But you gotta keep your emotions out of it, because when you start talking to people and they, like, if you come at them, they're gonna get on the defensive, and once they get on the defensive, all communication is lost right then. So you gotta, you know, a lot of times you just gotta see the people. I try to live in a life full of peace right now. You know, just try to stay in a plane of peace, because you know I didn't come up like that. So you know, I need that now, and I want that for my son. So you know, I'm trying to teach him how to communicate to people too. But you know, he got a part of the young me, and he got a part of his mother running in him too. So you know, nothing against her, you know what I'm saying? But you know, we both from New York, so you know.
Those daggone New Yorkers. Just kidding. um, Deborah says many fathers are made to prove they are fit after they separate. Mothers don't have to do that. It requires fathers to jump through hoops.
I wouldn't agree with that, honestly, because the laws are changing. Um I didn't My character got assassinated a lot when we went to court. But if you're a good person, if you're a good man, you know, the courts are really going for the best interest of the child right now. Laws are really changing, and you know, it's been said so long, and I've ran into guys, you know, that were scared to go to court for their kids because
This is why we put it on Do Not Disturb.
can you hear me?
Now
Can
I
you hear me?
can. Now I
I'm
can.
sorry. I gotta learn how to you should have told me how to pause this stuff, because people hit me up on Messenger. Oh, I see you. People, don't hit me up on Messenger right now. Wait.
It can wait. It's like texting and driving, messaging during live interviews. It can wait.
Yeah, but I was saying the laws are changing. The laws are really changing. But honestly, just make sure that if you're a father, make sure you got all your stuff straight, because you know, custody battles they could be terrible, and you know, but you know, the laws are changing. The father, I didn't have to jump through hoops. I just had to show consistency, and that's, you know, that's what I try to be. And so the judge saw that. The judge saw through the lies and you know everything, and you know, my son lives with me, and he's been living with me for since 2011. So you know, I'm in Virginia. Deborah, I just seen that question. I beat you to it.
I didn't know we were racing, but thank you for answering the question.
Nah, cause it's true. Cause
There are I've heard it go different ways, but I'm definitely not going to challenge your story, and I think it's good that you had that experience. And if you had that experience, then hopefully other people, other you know, situations can be just as positive with the outcome. So I'm going to
but
go
one thing I
to, excuse me.
no one thing I could say, don't play tit for tat. You know what I'm saying? Especially through custody things, don't play tit for tat. You be consistent, be a good man, but log everything down, write everything down. If you know, if you're going through custody, but don't play tit for tat.
Awesome. I think you gave some really good advice there. I do. And then it's a lot of this comes down to character and integrity, because you know, we hear people say things and it sounds like, "Oh, I had to bite my tongue. I had to, you know, but these things are not easy. But it's clearly things that somebody listening to this, whether they're listening now or whether they tune into this later, after it's already been broadcast, then they're able to see somebody who actually did go through it, and somebody who actually did have to do it, and I'd say came out you know, triumphant as a result of it. So my next question is what have been some of your best moments as a father?
Oh man. Well, I was there when he was born, and it was cool. Um, and I changed his first diaper in the hospital. So that was cool too. Um, man, I don't know. He just my son. I don't know. He just make me happy. You know what I'm saying? Like every night. I tell him I love him. Tell him I love him all the time. Kiss him on his forehead. We just have. It's like we just to say like just one time. I can't really say just one time because he
I
just.
said plural moments.
Okay, okay. um, wow, I don't know. Or sometimes like when I tell him something, like a life lesson, and he's at the age where 15, he's about to be 16 on the 29th. He knows everything. Dad don't know nothing, but there's times that he comes back and tells me something that like I told him years ago, and I'm like, "Dad, he was really listening." Like when I'm like, "Yeah, he gets it." And there's just little things that he does, like especially when when I had my motorcycle wreck a while ago, and I came home from the hospital, he wouldn't let me do nothing. He's like, "Dad, I got you. I got you." He's like, "I'm gonna take care of you." But I'm like, he's a good kid. So it's
That's
it's some of
great.
the stuff.
That
Yeah.
is great. Let me see. Are there any specific challenges, strategies, or philosophies that you have based on the gender of your child? Like considering that you're raising a son, have you noticed
hmm
any unique challenges or strategies, or have you adapted any philosophies that you feel that might be worth sharing for raising a black son?
Um, yeah, cause my son, he's 15. He's gonna be driving soon, and I'm just trying to tell him, when he starts driving, the possibility that he might get pulled over by the cops. And so, like I said, I try to constantly live in peace, and I try to keep my son at that, try to teach him peace and conflict resolution. Because a lot of times, when a cop pull you over, it it could go different ways, and so I'm trying to allow him to not let his emotions get involved or let his emotions, overtake his frustrations, and to constantly think your way through. And I always tell him every time when he goes, your purpose is to get home safe. That um, like I said, conflict resolution. You know, um, when you're emotional, you never. I always tell them, and even other kids that I talk to, when you're emotional, you're gonna make the wrong decision. And so I always teach them to try to detach emotionally and to think logically. And you got a better chance of making the right decision. With school, I teach him, as a black man, as a black up and coming man, he's gonna have to do things that much better than his counterparts. You know, um, the system is already set up for him to fail, and so he has to show a different way. I share a lot of my young experiences with him because for the rest of my life, I'm considered a statistic. I came from a single family home. Raised by my mother. Came out of the projects, convicted felon. You know, I'm always going to be a statistic, and I don't want that for him. A lot of times I did a lot of emotional things, and so I teach him through my mistakes not to make the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So um, I think those are the two biggest things that I constantly teach him.
Let me see. Are you frozen?
No.
Okay, okay. I didn't know if you had some more of your people contacting you when it got quiet, but that's good.
uh,
And the only thing I would say is you're not a statistic. You're a man. You're a black man. You're a father, and a bunch of other things that we may not even be aware of. You are not a statistic. And this society cannot allow us to feel that that is what we are. You are greater than a number, um, or a stereotype. Um, but that's great advice, and it's something that people have to think about. You know, unfortunately, raising our children, thinking about being pulled over, things such as being pulled over by the police, and definitely when you're teaching children at a young age how to handle their emotions and how to deal with their emotions, because like you said, emotions can get you killed. Emotions can get you incarcerated. Emotions can get you in a lot of bad situations that, a split second and you got a
I don't teach
lifetime
him to be
of.
a punk now. I don't teach him to be a punk. I teach him, somebody put their hands on you, you better handle yourself. But if they don't, then there's other options.
Yeah, we didn't mistake that, but
Okay.
thanks thanks for letting us know that
All
got a
right.
little Muhammad Ali over there. Um, let's see. What else do we have here? What do you want most for your son?
um, I want him to be educated. And not so much in like the school system, but in life. Um, educated, as far as financial literacy. Um, educated as far as like I think I shared with you, I'm learning about metaphysics and everything. Sorry, it paused for a reason. I don't know why. Can you hear me? Okay, yeah. Just education. I want him because he plays sports, but I want him to be more than just somebody who plays sports. I want him to have a good head on his shoulders. Um, Street smarts, even though he didn't come up in like the city like me, but I still teach him stuff to, watch his surroundings. But I just want him to be successful. And, different people view success as different things. But I want him to be educated in those ways. I want him to, like financial literacy is a huge thing for me. I want him to be able to have different streams of income, like, investments, um, things like that. But I just want, and I definitely want to keep him out of the prison system. Definitely want to keep him out of that. Um, and yeah, I just want him to be successful. I want him to be whatever decision that he makes. I want him to be comfortable in it.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you
See,
good.
this happened to me yesterday. Now I have mine on do not disturb, but the call still came through and now my volume gets really, really low. I can't hear you
Can
well.
you hear me
It
now?
That doesn't change anything. Oh my gosh, I don't see the point of the do not disturb if the call is still. So now I'm gonna have to do like I did yesterday and get really close because I just
Okay.
I really can't hear you well. It comes down to a really low volume. So I
I'll
have
talk louder. It's better.
it's nothing's gonna change it on my end, even if I adjust the once I get a call to come through. It won't do it if it's a text or a message, but with the calls. So I have two questions on here that I think are kind of hard questions, and I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna eeny meeny miny mo you.
Sis,
Let me see which one of these that I'm gonna give you. So
you get them
now,
both. I'm ready. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm
oh, I
rolling.
heard that. Okay, okay. So, well, let me give some context here. Definitely, the reason why I'm having this conversation is because being the daughter of a single father and having men in my family, all the men in my family who are dedicated fathers, and also having men in my life as friends who are dedicated fathers to help shed the light on the fact that Black men are in their kids' lives. But nonetheless, I can't leave out the fact that there are people who, even such as yourself, who didn't have their father around. And that happens in all races. But we're talking about the Black community right now. So I'm going to ask you, what do you think? Just what are some things coming from your mind? I'm not asking you to solve the problem, but what do you think Black men can do to help break the cycle of fatherlessness within our communities?
Um, wow. I think, okay. I think when fathers aren't there, I think they're selfish. You know, they're thinking about themselves. And if you think about your child, then it's not an option for you not to be there. You know, and I do think that, you know, the guys who are being fathers need to step to the ones who ain't, you know, and challenge them, but like, look, you need to get in your kid's life. You know, like I was watching the guys that you did yesterday, and they were talking about the village, and you know that village mentality is gone. But if you know somebody, especially one of your boys who's not taking care of their kids or is not in their kids' life, you need to check them. I mean, for real, it's you got to check them. Step up if you can. You know, be like a godfather or uncle or something. Cause you know, a couple of my friends' dads that you know I looked at them as like uncles. You know, even though it wasn't no blood relation, but you know, I looked at them like that. But I think, you know, dudes just gotta stop being selfish. There's no excuse for you not to be in your kid's life. You know, I know some mothers make it hard, but there's always a way. You know what I'm saying? I'm on this group on Facebook called Black Fathers, and you know, you know, a lot of us, you know, share experiences, and you know, there's some guys that get back in their kids' lives, you know, after years of, you know, issues with the mother. But you know, you could always get back. Just don't be selfish. You know, forget about the issues with you and the mother, and just get back in the kid's life.
I think you said a couple of good things right there, and especially when you're talking about men holding men accountable. You know, we really shouldn't be hanging with people who don't share the same values that we do, and especially when it comes to something as major as you know, being present in your child's life, and men being able to open up and have that conversation and have that dialogue about that with one another, and not turning a blind eye to the fact that this is your homeboy, but he hasn't seen or done anything for his, you know, child or children in the past 2-3 years, and that's going unchecked. I think that that accountability amongst men and the ability to have the conversations and maybe even, you know, ask why initially. But I think that that's very important in holding men to the fire for that. And then, like you said, building up that village and men stepping in. You know, and I'm grateful to all the brothers who step in. You know, in the work that I do, I'm constantly needing men to be mentors, to step in. So, yes, definitely. If you see it within your family, with nephews and nieces, if you see it in your community, in your church, your mosque, whatever it may be, filling in those gaps. So I think that's definitely very important. So, is there any advice that you would like to give to young or new fathers?
Um, Learn all you can. You know, there's no proper handbook on raising a kid, but just learn how you can. And as the kid gets older, or as a child get older, you know, a kid is a goat. But as a child gets older, um, you know, just allow them to be a child. You know, don't put too much on them too soon. But definitely watch who they're around, especially like in this culture that we got going on now. I was real protective over my son, and I still am. Um, but watch who's around your child. Notice everything. Um, if you're with the mother, communicate. If you're not with the mother, communicate. You know, because I was 27, 26, 27 when I got married, and you know, a child tends um to change the dynamic of a relationship, but you know, still communicate, you know, about everything, and try to find a common ground when it comes to raising your child. It's not gonna like I said, there's no handbook, but you know, learn all you can from wherever you can, you know, whether it be religious books, non-religious books, just learn all you can. And yeah.
Okay. And
Yep.
my final question to you is how has fatherhood
All
changed you?
right. Huh?
How has
Sorry.
fatherhood changed you?
Wow, it calmed me down a lot. Um, I was I wasn't the worst kid out there, but I wasn't the best. And I used to live kind of reckless, but knowing that I wanted to be around for my son, it calmed me down a whole lot because when you I remember when I first held him and he just looking at me all calm and stuff, and I'm like, yo, this I gotta raise him. He gonna be looking at everything I do, and not saying I don't make mistakes in being a father, but I'm not big enough to tell my son I made a mistake. I'm not big enough to apologize when I do something wrong, to him. Um, but man, it really calmed me down. It let me because I used to be impulsive, but like when I taught him about detaching your emotions and making logical decisions, I'm back. Somebody called me, and I told him I was gonna be going live at 3. um, yeah, when I told him about detaching emotionally, I had to learn that, and still learning that because there's some things that come up that it's hard, but I can't teach him something and do the opposite. So it helped me to be a better man of my word. I never make promises to my son that I know I'm not gonna be able to keep. Um, and I'm open and honest with him about everything. He asks me some hard questions sometimes, sometimes things about me and his mother, and I just gotta be honest. He asked me stuff about my past, and I have to be honest. When he was at an age where I didn't feel like he could handle it, I told him I don't think that you can handle that right now. But it just really um it just really put me at a like just calm me down. Like I said, I insist on keeping peace around me. I don't deal with drama. I keep it moving, and I teach him how to do the same thing. Like you allow you allow things into your circle, into your atmosphere, and if you don't want it there, don't allow it. So I learned that because of wanting to shield him from things, wanting him not to come up the same way I did. You know, I'm grateful for how I came up because it made me who I am. But I see a lot of things I didn't have to go through, so I try to keep him from that, um, and try to just teach him about life. So a lot of things that um, I changed, just more calmer, you know, just more easygoing. You know, not a punk, but just easygoing.
Make sure you put that out there. Excellent, excellent, Sean. Thank you so much. Is there anything else? Because I asked all the questions. Is there anything else that you want to add, or something else that you want to say that I did not ask you?
um, I don't think so, but for the fathers, since
Hold on,
this
I
is
got to
about
get back up close because I can't. Ever since that call came in, it's like, shh, shh. Okay.
mm, no, but since changing the narratives of fatherhood of especially black fathers that's out there, we make our own narratives. You know what I'm saying? So if we want different, we got to start doing different, and we got to start, like I said, we got to challenge the other brothers who ain't stepped up yet. I'm grateful because a lot of my friends that I grew up with that have kids are in their kids' lives. Um, and so I see that a lot, that things are changing, but um, the sense of community, like especially if your friend got a kid, be a part of that kid's life, not just but genuinely, you know what I'm saying? Teach them the mistakes that we made. Because I remember when I was coming up, everything was so taboo. People wouldn't talk about certain things. I guess they were trying to shield us from it. But the more you let um kids know what's out there, they won't be naive to fall for certain things. So I think we got to share experiences. Men don't talk, because when I was going through my divorce, like that was the most emotional time of my life. But it took a man who went through the same thing to talk to me and let me know that I wasn't unique to myself. And then through that, I started meeting other guys that was dealing with the same thing. So we got to talk. We got to talk to each other, help each other out, especially as black fathers. We got to talk to one another. We got to help each other out. We got to, start fellowshipping, man. It's such a disconnect with black fathers nowadays. In the black community, it's such a disconnect. Everybody wants to do their own thing. Nobody has the guidebook. You know what I'm saying? But we could learn from one another. We could build from one another, and raise these young kings to be, to be leaders and not followers. Not to compromise, you know, um, to set trends and you know, to do the thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
So I have a challenge
oh
for you.
Lord, why? I should have shut up. Nah.
Yep, you should have, because you know me. All that wonderful talk you're doing, I have a challenge for you. So some of these
Mhm.
black dads that you were talking about, who you were friends with and who are in your network, I challenge you to reach out to one or two of them, and you guys decide like one way that you are going to create an active village between the two of you, whether or the three of you, whether you decide that you're gonna make a point to communicate monthly, weekly,
Mhm.
or if you're gonna do some outings or do some mental health checks on one another. But I challenge you to do that, and within 14 days to come back and drop a comment in this and say that you did it.
I told you that men don't talk to each other. Nah.
And I'm
Well, we're gonna
challenging
change that. We're gonna
you
change
with
that.
all those
We're gonna
wonderful
change it.
words that you just said to go and change that. You can pick one or you can pick two, and you guys decide that you're going to be more verbal with one another and that you're going to have those conversations. You're going to do a phone call monthly or weekly or an outing or something like that. And then in 14 days, matter of fact, I'll give you July 1. You come back and drop a comment in here and say that you had that conversation and yay or nay, it went good or it went left.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
So all viewers right now and viewers who see this later and the people who are watching who keep hitting Sean up and saying, hey man, I'm watching you right now, killing this interview, you're doing a great job. July
Do not hold
1,
me to
he's
it. No,
supposed to
stop.
drop a comment in here about at least one father who he reached out to, where they're going to be accountability partners and they're going to expand, they're going to, build, tighten their village within between the two or three of them.
I'm calling somebody today because I'm not trying to procrastinate this.
I heard that. All right. So we might get the comment before July 1, but all right, I heard that. So that's good stuff. So
I ain't got nothing else to say because you're not gonna catch me up. I'm zipping it.
I quit
I got over.
before this woman tries to get me. Them damn ringing.
I know, right?
You're going to your Zen pose now. Well, anyway, thank you so much, Sean. You did a great job. I know you were like, I'm nervous. I can't. All of that stuff you just said at the beginning of this interview. You dropped a lot of jewels and a lot of takeaways. Were given here tonight. And again, I thank you for doing this and stepping out of your comfort zone to do this. It's gonna be having a strong impact for a lot of people, more than we know. And these videos will be archived. I already have some things in my mind that I plan to do with them in the future. Not right now, but in the future. So you've put a lot of wonderful things out there. And
I'm gonna get
again,
my
it is a
star on the CCIA. I'm gonna get my star on the CCIA Walk of Fame.
yes, 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 definitely, definitely. Wait a minute, what is happening here?
Oh,
Deborah said, let
that's
me
my
pick up these comments again.
okay.
Great advice, hard but good advice. That's part of creating a village and allow children to be children. They are not little men. And Ivan Steele said, "Devil dog."
Yeah, that's my brother from the Marine Corps.
Okay, okay. I
Yeah.
figured that had to be some kind of inside thing right there. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, again, thank you for doing this. And it's imperative that we control our own narrative and the role. Again, I am here on behalf of the Black community. So that means man, woman, child, the family, the individuals, all of that. And we have to advocate and show up and be present for one another. If you've been following my movement all the way back to cleverspeaks.com, you know I'm the anti-stereotype hype. I'm here to expose the elements and aspects of our community that don't get talked about a lot of times when other people are controlling our narrative. And one of those is that Black men don't take care of their kids. And that's a blanket statement that is just not true. So I thank you for being a part of this series to help dismantle that stereotype and to give people hope, to give people inspiration, advice. And I find that even when women watch this, it is something that we admire and something that makes us hopeful and something that makes us feel proud. We like to see our men doing the right thing and doing good things. So and everybody who's tuning in, I'm doing this week all the way through Thursday. So I have 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. So at 8 p.m. tonight, I will be interviewing BJ Butler because I'm crazy. I'm doing 2 of these a day all the way through Thursday. So y'all tune in. Everybody give Sean a hand. And at 8 p.m., I will be back with BJ. And then tomorrow again at 3 and then at 8. And same thing on Thursday. And Thursday at 8 p.m., I will be talking to Wise Intelligent of Poor
Easy
Righteous
Star.
Teachers. Rock this funky joint. Y'all know all of that good stuff that we grew up listening to. So we're gonna keep it hip
Rock
hop
that.
that day. So be sure to tune in. And thank you again, Sean, and everybody watching. I'll
Yeah,
see
thank
you at
you.
8. Sean, see you. I hope you'll tune in again at 8. Y'all have a wonderful
Absolutely.
day. Peace.
All right. Peace.